brown, refried bean colored pus that was like chunky. It was... Hey guys, it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, then hi, my name is Sarah. I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes on August 7th, 2014. Here on my channel, I like to share the highs, the lows, and everything that's in between of my life with type 1 diabetes. Today, I'm going to be telling you guys a little bit about why I don't really like to wear my pump all that often. I've had a lot of issues with my pump, especially when it comes to pump site infections. Now, I'm sure I am not the only person in the world who has dealt with pump site infections, but it is one of the reasons why I don't wear my pump all that often. So I thought that I would share 3 little story times about pump infections. So if you do not like hearing about infections or anything like that, then this is probably not the video for you. Picture this, it is 2017. It's my first year of university. You know, when you're in exam season at university, you might not be taking care of your diabetes as well as you probably should. I had like 50 units of insulin left in my pump, so I just left my pump in for 1 extra day. It was the day before I realized that I had a pump site infection, and I was studying for exams. I started to have some pains on my stomach, but then I would look down at my pump site and be like, okay, well, it's not red, it's not inflamed. Maybe I'm just like having stress pain or anxiety or something like that. So I didn't really think much of it. Now, throughout the course of the day, I kept having these pains, but I would look at my pump site. It was not red, it was not inflamed. There was like no signs that there was an issue. It was like the 4th day. I felt really gross when I was going into my exam. There was like 500 or 600 students all writing different exams from different courses, and I'm in the middle of writing my exam. I'm feeling like a little nauseous. I'm getting some like chills, like I was hot and sweaty, but I had the chills, and I just thought that I was just anxious. Then all of a sudden, I started to feel something kind of wet on my stomach. And I was in the middle of this exam. It was like a 2.5 hour exam, and it's like an hour in, and I feel this wetness on my stomach where my pump is. And I'm like, ew, what is that? So I like kind of put my hand under my shirt to feel if it was just like sweat or something. And then I lifted up my hand, and there was like some goopy, pussy grossness on my hand too. And I'm like, oh, that's great. And I lift up my shirt. My pump site was like half stuck into me. The cannula was out, but the sticky part was still like half of it stuck in. And there was pus all over my stomach. It was a juicy site. I'll just say that. It was so infected that the cannula and my pump got pushed out of my stomach because there was so much pus there. And I don't know what happened, if it was just because of stress or because I left it in for 1 extra day, but I've done that multiple times. I know that some people will leave it in for 4 days instead of just 3. I think it was honestly just the stress of school. The very next story didn't happen until 2019. So I went 2 years without having like any serious pump site infections. This was my boyfriend's 21st birthday. I'd been planning the surprise party for him, go to a restaurant, to his favorite restaurant. And the day of the party, I felt awful. 1, I was on my period, so that was just great, the icing on top of the cake. And 2, I dealt with another pump site infection. I get really bad period cramps to the point that I'll throw up sometimes. Like, this doesn't happen every single time I have my period, but sometimes it does. And this was one of those days. Threw up a couple of times, was dealing with my period and everything. I never checked my pump site. I was using my pump site on my thigh. After I had gone to the bathroom and like had thrown up a couple of times, was experiencing like really bad cramps. I was sweating, I was really weak, like I was having flu-like symptoms, and I passed out on the couch for like 3 or 4 hours, and he was just like rubbing my leg, making me feel better, but I was like KO'd on the couch, okay? And when I woke up, I still felt really bad, and my leg was throbbing. I was in so much pain on my leg, and I was like, oh my fucking, like, I bet you that my pump site's infected. So I go to the bathroom and I take off my pants and I look. This pump site infection wasn't as bad as my stomach pump site infection, but it hurt way more because I think that it was like close to my muscle. So I took out the pump site. I could see through that little plastic area where the cannula goes in that it was like bright red. And so I like took off my pump, and as I did that, just like a little ooze of pus just right onto my thigh. So I had to squeeze my thigh, get it all out. I had a steaming hot shower, got everything cleaned up, and then about like 2 or 3 hours after I had like gotten all the juicy goopiness out of my leg, I felt so much better. Then we were able to go out and party with his friends afterwards, and I felt a lot better. So that was one of the other pump site infections that I had. Took a little break from my pump, okay, and then I went back onto my pump in December. So I like November, I just didn't wear my pump and I was using my needles and everything. And then December, I wore my pump from December all the way until this next pump site infection. This last infection that I had is the reason why I have not worn my pump for an entire year, because it was so bad. So the day before that I had the infection, it was just like a normal day, okay? Nothing out of the ordinary. I didn't like go and like play in the mud or do anything weird like that. I had gone for a walk with my family and our dogs. I came home, had a shower, sanitized my arm, got my mom to help me put in my pump site. Everything was fine, went about my day, and then I started to feel funny in my arm. Now, it felt like a pinching. You know when you put in like a Dexcom or a Freestyle Libre or a pump or anything like that and you hit a nerve and it just kind of like hurts for a few hours afterwards? That's what it felt like. So I didn't think anything of it. It didn't bleed. It didn't do anything crazy. I had no reason to take my pump off and check it. So the very next day, I'm lying on the couch because like at my parents' house, I don't have my own bedroom. So I'm like couch surfing when I was at their house. And my mom and dad, they're having their coffees with me, but I felt kind of gross. Felt like I had the flu. After having so many pump site infections, I should have known that flu-like symptom that I was getting was actually a pump site infection, but I was just stupid. So I'm lying on the couch in the living room, we're enjoying our coffee and everything, and I just like fall asleep again. I would say half of the day I was like in and out of sleeping. I felt really hot, I was having a fever, but my arm did not hurt. My blood sugar was still like decent. It was like around 9 or 10. Because I was experiencing flu-like symptoms, I was like, okay, well, I'm just sick and my blood sugar is just a little high because I'm sick. So I was taking extra insulin. So I go to the bathroom. This is late at night, okay, that same day. So I had only had my pump site in for maybe a day and a half now. I go to the bathroom, do my stuff. I was not feeling well. So I go and I brush my teeth. And as I'm brushing my teeth, my pump, because how it was, when I was brushing my teeth doing this motion, the cord like kind of pulled a little bit and it hurt like really bad. And so I like look at my arm and I swear to God, there was a mound. It was like a little anthill on my arm, this big. I swear to God, I'm not exaggerating. It was like this tall. And I was like, what in the hell is on my arm underneath my pump site? Immediately take my pump site out and it just kind of like how on my thigh went and just like deflated. But it was not white pus. Oh no. Oh no, no. It was like brown, refried bean colored pus that was like chunky. It was freaking out because I couldn't see it fully. So I called my mom into the bathroom because one, my mom is a ghoul like me and loves like pimple popping. So, you know, and two, she could see what was going on. So I call her into the bathroom and she sees it and she's like, Jesus Christ, what the heck is on your arm? And she squeezes it and it literally squirted at her. Then my mom like kind of like shrieked and like jumped when it happened. And so that caused my two younger sisters to come into the bathroom to see what was going on. Also, while my mom is squeezing and draining my arm, I could not feel a thing. My arm was bright red, it was hot, and I could not feel a thing. And this is why I couldn't feel what was going on earlier. And the only reason that I could feel it when it tugged was because the cannula was like right in the infected part. Okay, so they're like watching it, like, oh, gross, like squeezing out this like infected pump site that I have on my arm. We finally got it like drained out for that day. This was not just like a one-day thing. This went on for 3 whole days, okay? This like, it would fill up with pus and then we would drain it and then it was all the refried bean color again, and it did that 3 times. And for those 3 days, I was like just chilling out on the couch, drinking like coffee and drinking lots of water, not eating really anything because I was like so unappetized by what was going on. From that point on, I just started using pens. There's still like a little bit of scar tissue that's like a pit pit in my arm that I could feel right here. It was like, the pit was like that for the first little bit. And so we had to like massage it and keep it clean. And my mom also at the beginning of the week when it first started, she put like a thing of pen around it just to make sure that it didn't get any bigger, because if it did, then we were gonna go to the hospital. It was an event. I hope none of you have ever experienced like a really bad pump site infection like that, because it sucks so bad. I've never really seen anybody talk about their pump site infections before. Like, I've just seen about people talking about their favorite pump site areas to put in. So I thought that I would tell you some of my horror stories about pump site infections. I thought that I would let you guys know, so if there's any new diabetics out there or anybody who's just getting on a pump, make sure you clean your site before you put it in there. Make sure you clean your hands before you do anything. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys thought this video was gross or funny or informative in any kind of way, then please make sure to subscribe. Also, give it a big thumbs up, because the engagement on my channel really does help other people find my content. I just really want to let you guys know that I really do appreciate you. So please make sure to leave a comment down below so you guys can be featured as next week's Diabeto of the Week. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!